Boom, we're live. Modern Relics Podcast. I'm Angel Lee's Lucky. We're back. It's brand new year, same two dudes. Go figure.
I'm a little different, I feel. I feel like I'm a little different this year. I don't know why.
I want to feel different this year. It hasn't sunk in yet. Maybe we'll give it till February or something. We'll try it out. We'll see what's changing. Yeah, how are things? How are the holidays? We were gone for a while. We had a long couple of weeks filled with holidays and busyness and craziness and everything you could think of. So
craziness.
Yeah.
Yours were a little bit more, I would say, eventful than mine. So I'll kick off with Christmas is really a special time for my family. I've really gone out of my way to really establish, like I've talked about in previous episodes, traditions and making sure that there's a connectivity in those traditions that I brought to my family. And normally we have a slew of different characters and people that are all involved in our holidays. Yeah. This year was far different. It was really mellow. We did our traditional Christmas Eve, hot wings off the smoker. But this year I read after we watched movies and had dinner and opened up Christmas Eve presents. I read the night before Christmas to my kids every year since they were born. And same book like that we got from a friend. And this year I read it to not only them, but a recently turned 24-year-old man who is my daughter's boyfriend, and then a nearly 19-year-old girl who is my son's girlfriend. But it was fun. It was special. We included them. And then from there, I had a regular Christmas. I got some cool stuff. I got a new head shaver. I got a cool little end table for the end of the couch for all my stuff, since I always sit in that one spot. Some other things that the kid, Oliver got me a collected hardbound works of Charles Dickens.
Nice.
And Kate and Wiley got me the Lego Millennium Falcon, which is an insane set. It is almost 8,000 pieces. And so it's a little daunting, and I'm currently in the middle of what we ended up doing for New Year's. So that Christmas dinner, everyone had a great night. Got Aaron a whole pot and pan set. From you, I got an amazing night vision monocular.
Just the one nocular, the monocular.
Yeah. And then a really nice Dutch oven.
Yeah.
And a glassware set for food storage. And I got Aaron a Ring doorbell, a heater for her bathroom, and then a really large stainless steel pot and pan set, because we've been rocking the same pots and pans since before our wedding. Yeah. So they were a little worse for wear, and dings and scrapes and scratches and warps, and so we've been just using the same thing. We'd kind of supplemented with some cast iron stuff here and there, but she needed a whole new set, so I got her
that whole shit's new set. Always like as needed. Yeah, like I recently went through the knives that I use. I have knives I use when I'm barbecuing that are like serious knives, and then I have like regular kitchen block knives. And I've been buying the same $60 set of knife block, whatever, from insert brand name here. And I also live like in one of the driest climates on earth, probably. And they're getting rusty spots on them and stuff, and they're just beat to shit. And I was like, I need to get new kitchen stuff too. So it's always nice when you can set those things up. You actually get a set of those. That's great, because I got to start looking for regular run-of-the-mill kitchen knives that I'm impressed with. Probably Probably a Costco
Yeah.
find, I'm sure, but we'll figure it out.
Costco's always great for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And your new recent discovery and love of Costco will just give you a reason to go down there.
It's great. I was getting out of control there for a while. I
Getting those
was
$5 chickens, huh?
I was finding ways to bring it up at work. Like, well, I disagree with you on this project piece. As a newly minted gold star member of the Costco Wholesale Club, I feel it's my natural right to let you know that just doesn't. You know what I mean? You're just like trying to weave in the excitement everywhere you can in places that doesn't belong. You know what I mean? It's great.
Right.
Like, did you know I'm part of an exclusive club that literally
Yeah,
hundreds of
well.
thousands of other people are also a part of? Yeah, it's great. I love Costco. Like,
Yeah, but you forget the
crazy
first and
amount.
second rule of Costco Club is that you don't talk about Costco Club.
Unless you're bragging. One thing I learned about why my Costco's are better than Costco's in Seattle are apparently, and I'm guessing it has to do with an add-on to the sugar tax craziness they brought up there. They don't have soda in the soda machines. They have diet only. And I was
What?
like, why do you have diet lemonade, diet Mr. Pibb, diet Pepsi, or you know what I mean? Like all the way across the board. They don't serve real soda because of the sugar content or tax or part of the stuff. You know how they like can charge you
In
more for
Seattle?
like, oh yeah. Because there's a sugar tax there. You knew this, right? Oh.
I had heard about it in other places such as New York and stuff. I did not know that Seattle had followed
for
suit.
a couple of years now. Like one of my principal grievances was I like drinking cranberry juice off and on, right? Like once or twice a month or whatever. I'm not a big let's make apple juice or whatever. I enjoy lemonades, whatnot. But if you buy cranberry juice or grape juice or apple juice, it's part of the sugar tax impact, and they'll crank on another $1, $1.50. And I'm like, what the hell? But I noticed that like I have actual soda if you buy the hot dog and the soda combo or whatever, right? And we have
Right.
regular person sodas down here, and they have diet only up there. It's tragedy.
Well, it's un-American is what it is.
Yeah.
It is your American right to have a whatever soda you like with your Costco hot dog.
Yeah, right. And you wave the hot dog
So-
around and try to cleanse your house of the evil vegan spirits as you walk around with relish and mustard and stuff.
And they're all beef, so they're kosher as well and
Yeah.
halal.
Right.
So
It's probably
Yeah.
not as important to the Palestinian government and country that exists that it be kosher like it is their enemies, but you know, case raw.
that's
Anyway,
true.
we went on a tangent. What else happened for Christmas?
That was about it. But New Year's,
Yeah.
my kids they're at that age now where we used to hang out with them and do the pots and pans and fireworks or go do something, and Aaron and I over the last couple of years agreed that we're not really fond of New Year's Eve parties. They seem awkward.
Yeah.
Everyone's just kind of waiting around. I don't find them fun. And
Mhm.
I used to be a very social human at one point in my time.
Same.
But I am far less a social human now. I have the humans I like, and I'll be as social as needed in functions that I want to go to, whether it be work or church or something to that effect. However, outside of that, if I can find my solitude with just my few core people, that's
Yeah.
what I'll choose 10 times out of 10. So, but the kids are at the age where, they've got their significant others and they want to go do their young people things. And so, Oliver went up to his girlfriend's aunt's house where they were actually having tons of munchies and a Dungeons and Dragons New Year's party.
There you go.
And so he got to go. And that was the day after he got his driver's license.
Nice.
So his birthday's on the 30th. And for his birthday, we got him some Dungeons and Dragons stuff. We got him hockey stuff, and we got him snowboarding stuff. Those
Nice.
are his kind of three passions at the moment. So, and so he got to go up in his truck and go up there by himself and go up there and have his own thing, and it was pretty cool. And then Kate and Wiley are oddly at 20 and 24 are almost as old as Aaron and I are as far as socially.
Yeah.
They just don't care to hang out with anybody. So
Yeah.
they thought they were going to go do something, but they decided to hang out at the house with us and watch movies. But what Aaron and I do every year is I will build a big charcuterie board that probably should feed like 10 people.
Right.
But I just don't want to miss out on anything, so I put everything on there. And then we'll get a couple of adult beverages. Yeah. We'll get a couple of adult beverages, which we don't drink. So like Erin, I'll get her a bottle of wine, which I think might be, if there's one other time of the year that she has wine, it's during the summer sometime. But New Year's is pretty much the only time that we really drink. Every once in a while I'll have a beer, but so I'll get a couple of ciders or something like that, and she'll get a bottle of wine, and we'll have the charcuterie board, and we'll sit there, and on our birthdays, which are in the summer, June and July, we'll get from each other or other people, we'll get big Lego sets. And so we'll just sit at a table, watch movies, and have the charcuterie board, a couple of drinks, and we'll put together Lego sets. This year, hers was the house from the movie Up with the balloons.
Yeah.
And then I had the DeLorean from the Back to the Future movies. Now, she finished hers, and because she had 4 bags that came in that set of Legos. Mine came with 11, and I got through, I think, 5 bags.
Wow.
Before I tapped out. So I spent a little time on it today. It's still not done, but it's getting there. It's going to be really cool because it's a small feat of engineering. This thing like has lights and moving parts, and the wheels go up, and the steering wheel actually steers thing. It's craziness. So I'm very excited to get it done. But one of the things that I got that other big set, so I'm going to get started on that, the Millennium Falcon. I can't wait till next New Year's to get it started, because it's going to take probably a month to put together.
I was going to say, if you started it now, it might be ready to dawn by next New Year's. Yeah.
Right. So, but so we just had a pretty mellow night. And then on New Year's Day, I went back to work. I actually tattooed Erin on New Year's Day, worked on her geometric arm, and then watched Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, which is my yearly on New Year's Day, as a reminder that our government is shady and has been since the 1930s, if not before, and that it operates not on the up and up, and there is lobbyist nonsense that needs to be rectified. But it's one of my favorite Jimmy Stewart movies, and it's Frank Capra, same guy who did It's a Wonderful Life. So wonderful movie and a tradition that I do. But that was about it. That was our holidays. Nothing too crazy to speak of. Pretty mellow. We just got rid of the tree yesterday. But yeah. How about yours?
I was on it. Like, I had New Year's Day off, and I was like, I'll just take the tree down. And it led to a discovery of a problem that I have with myself. And it starts out logical, but it spirals out of control pretty quickly. I am the type of guy that will keep the box that it came in. Now, I do this because, typically speaking, if you buy something that's, let's say, $50 or more, I keep the box because generally $50 or more means there's probably at least a 1 to 3 year manufacturer warranty on whatever the product is. And for a guy like me, it's the perfect receptacle to put that item back in. Should something go wrong, you have to send it back. It's got the UPC on it. I catalog receipts pretty well. I've always been pretty regimented with that stuff. But after a year, the box just kind of disappears because you move it 100 times throughout the year, and it goes to wherever boxes go. And filled
Box purgatory.
I filled a 96-gallon curbside trash can from empty to overflowing where I couldn't close the lid all the way with leftover boxes from stuff that I've kept. And I was like, dude, you gotta stop keeping boxes. And then I just went on a tirade and cleaned out a ton of the house. Now I had good motivation. I recently bought a gun safe, but and that'll be delivered tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I needed to free up some space and reorganize. But point being, I was like, I'm in it. I'm just take all the ornaments in the tree down. Usually I leave it up for a week or two after Christmas, but yeah, it went down right off the bat. My holidays, nothing happened. It was pretty chill. Now I haven't cleared it with this person, and we have a very two-way dialogue about keeping this person off of my internet journeys because I know how to protect myself and this person really doesn't. But I got to spend Christmas with somebody that's very, very close to me. And we had a wonderful time. Had two friends over on Christmas Eve. It was a raucous good time. Chocolates and wines were had. Chris came over with his wife. She was flying out to see her family the next day. We had a great time. Christmas morning kicked ass. Got a bunch of cool loot. Super fun times. The traditional orange sweet roll was accomplished on Christmas morning. Had to track those little bastards down because many of the stores didn't have them. So saved Christmas with that. It was awesome. Played a lot of Mario Golf. And then this person had somebody in their family very close to their immediate family die on Christmas evening right after dinner, like still seated at the dinner table. And it's brutal in a bunch of different ways, but watching somebody that means a lot to you take a knife to the stomach and there's like nothing you can do about it is one of the most bone-chilling things to go through as you sit across the table from them and just watch them melt into, you know what I mean? Like it was so really, really tough. And so obviously there was a lot of trying to be supportive in that space. I really disconnected for the remainder of the holidays until this person flew home. So it was enlightening in a lot of ways because I got to revisit some of, hey, how are you doing in your own personal life with some of the losses that you've sustained over the years? And it's things once they're kind of packed away, they kind of stay packed away. The boxes, you know, I keep them for a year and then they just get packed away somewhere. It's good to go through those boxes, even metaphorically speaking, and kind of examine some of the stuff that you need to hang on to and some of the stuff you should fucking throw away, you know?
Do some personal inventory.
That's it, you know, and it's good to try to remain self-aware with that stuff. I also live alone, you know, and I have only myself to contend with. And that was very difficult for me for a long time dealing with my own personal tragedies and losses back then. So kind of touching back on some of that darkness as you see it happening across the table from you is not ever a fun time. But I think things in a very short-term sense, as the crow flies this January 6th, are already trending in the right direction. And to me, I'm very grateful and thankful for that. And if I could be a small support system in that facet, that's what I intended to do. Like if I offer advice or help out, or like, I'm just going to get in the way. But if I'm just here, then you're not going through it alone. And if you need anything, I'll jump in. But best thing I can do is just kind of try to be supportive as much as possible and remember what I went through and remember what it felt like for me. And remember, you know, the very last thing when you lose somebody close to you that you want to hear is, how are you doing? You know, it's like, well, besides wanting to tear your head off for asking me that question, how do you think I'm doing? You know what I mean? So like just trying to be present and in the moment as best as possible meant kind of disconnecting from the phone and the holiday phone calls and the, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So it was very different.
You're finding the difference between what people need in that moment, which is true empathy as opposed to sympathy.
Right.
And so sympathy is what people don't want in that situation. They want you to empathize with them, but be sincere in that empathy where it's not smothering. It's just, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here with you. I have like I do have some background that I understand what you're going through, but we're not going to make this about me because it's about you,
Yeah.
and it's about what you're going through. But I understand on a on an emotional level what you're going through, so I know what you don't want,
Right.
which is, are you okay? Is everything all right? Are you going to be,
Yeah.
what do you need? Do you need something? You know, but being available, just being available for if something hit that person's heart or their, you know, or their head that needed to come out, and just being available for that.
Yeah,
And
and
that's what
some of that comes with age and maturity naturally too. Like, you know, people ask when I get a chance to talk to them, especially new people at work, for example, about like, how did you decide on where to take your career? And it's like, I learned throughout my professional life shit I didn't like doing, and kind of process of eliminated that, you know? So kind of going back to what you said, some of it's just being a little more self-aware as you're older and being like, you know, I I know that that's not going to help. You know what I mean? A lot of that stuff, and it's time to let them take the wheel and just, you know, do the best you can.
just, like you said, being mature in the understanding and having experience in learning how to read a room.
Yeah.
You know, and oftentimes grown adults, most grown adults, but even like I notice with younger people, you know, Oliver being the example, you know, Kate seems to naturally know how to read a room, and she can kind of figure out where the tone and the pace and how to kind of engage that room properly. Oliver is a bull in a china shop, so he doesn't come to that natural kind of reading a room or being able to empathize in a proper way with certain people. And so it's something that some people have to learn, and some people have a natural gift for. And I think time and experience really plays into that, being able to read the room and to be able to empathize in the proper way in a tragic time. And so, man, that
it's tough.
That, you know? I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry that the both of you went through that. And
it's tough. So, I think, like I said, I think things, you're going to have your ups and downs, you know, and for a long time. And you're just going to feel pissy 5 months from now and not know why until you really get through it. But I think things are trending in a decent direction, which is great. There's more support around and available if necessary, so I don't feel so disconnected because I don't live near this person. So that was tough. But I think on a bright note, I was able to get an awful lot done. You have written down New Year's goals. I had been thinking about that since New Year's Day. I got to thinking a couple of years ago, probably 3 now, when we launched this podcast. It was around the time that we had mapped out New Year's goals 2 years ago or a year ago, and I never got to revisit those on the pod. I remember talking about wanting to spin up track days on a bike. And the follow-on to that is the support structure for me doing that, even if I had a wealth of funds to commit to it, buy a cheap Craigslist bike, build it for track only where it's not road legal, pretty cheap, have hitch carrier, have truck, have access to track, and probably make it happen. If something happens to me, there's no support system, you know, along the way kind of thing. And it's wildly expensive on the circuit down here to actually get into club racing and things like that. So it's still something I would like to dip my toe into, but it's no longer a goal. And I had to find that out through a lot of intensive research. So that's a follow on from 2 years ago, as far as that's concerned. This New Year's goals, I think I'm in a different spot professionally as well. Like if we were to talk about this a year ago, retaining my job as a means of survival was not on my bingo card. And a lot's changed professionally. Like there's been an entire year of thousands of people where I work being laid off over at Redacted, and I've continued to make the cut for different reasons. And I'm grateful in that I still have an ability to make my mortgage payment. but it has really put a stranglehold on creating future plans that involve any kind of lavish spending. And I would consider that, you know, recreational plus spending has really gone down. The problem with that is that I've turtled up a lot this year. I don't leave the house. I don't go anywhere. Like, you know, time is money. Travel is gasoline money. Do I need to do that? No. Save the money. Right. And then you realize,
right,
to a pretty aggressive point, and here's the example I'll give. I have to register my cars, and to do that, you have to smog them every year in this state. And both of my batteries in both vehicles died because I didn't drive either one of them for weeks. Like weeks at a time. And I'm like, well, this is unfortunate. So I didn't pay attention to it, charged them up. Like, I'm not going to pass smog until all the internal monitors reset from drive cycles. I have to put miles on my cars and my truck now and drive them around. So it took me a long time, many hours of driving around, and job done, right? Got it figured out. You know, don't have to go down to the office because I missed the deadline or anything. Fine. But during those drives, I was like, boy, you haven't left the house for shit in a long time. Like, there has to be a balance this year.
You have groceries delivered and stuff like that. So
sometimes,
like,
sometimes I'll run down there for that.
Practical.
I don't eat much either.
But I mean, it's...
No. When I'm by myself, I won't buy like bulk stuff because it just goes bad, you know?
I think you buy more groceries when you know I'm going to be down there and that we're going to be eating together fairly frequently. And then I'll buy groceries too. And then we'll but yeah, for the most part, like, you know, you're fairly minimalist when it comes to any of that.
Yeah. So, and I have, I don't know, 900 boxes of dried noodles in the pantry. Yeah, it's like,
all different sizes and shapes.
That cost 48 cents a box or whatever it was. It'll like, I can eat a low amount pretty cheaply or whatever. But I got to thinking, like, there needs to be some give and take. Like, I have to find time to leave the castle and storm out into the wild every once in a bit. And I don't really do the car show circuit a lot, especially after last year. There was a lot of knuckleheads making TikTok videos and all the police got involved. And so now they're very, very hard ass about, you know, if you don't have a permit, we don't want all you hooligans gathering here. And it's like, it's cars and coffee. And the youngest dude here is 35, 40 years old. Do you know what I mean? There's 15 of us. Like, none of us are looking to do a street takeover, my guy, but okay. And we get thrown out of parking lots and shit. So I'm like, I'm kind of like not as hyped on that as I was building momentum last year for a lot of the car circuit stuff, which was fun. So I'm like, I think what I'm going to try and do is plug into going to some studio and work on like formal guitar lessons, maybe just to get me out of the house and get something I really enjoy doing, and, you know, build skills that way. Probably a gym membership, although everyone says that this time of year. So it's like, you probably should be a little more active and leave the house and, you know, get after it. And just generally trying to find ways to balance the abject terror I'm living in on potentially losing my job at a moment's notice, which has gone on for over a year now, to where's the balance before you don't leave your house and you're afraid of the sunshine and you become a vampire, and you know what I mean? Like, I think the goals are trying to find some sort of balance within myself. I still shoot a lot. You know, I don't go every weekend or whatever, but I think in 2023, I probably put, I'll have to check the firing schedule, but pretty close to 20,000 rounds downrange by myself.
Ooh.
Like, I shoot a lot. And like, you know, I've got a membership to a club nearby that often goes to waste if I don't go up there. So just finding time to make time for me in those ways, I think, are my biggest goals this year. But I don't have an exact North Star on like progress updates for those things. I just need to get better at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those sound like great goals. I would like to see you kind of venture out a little bit more. I get a little, I wouldn't say worried, but I mean, a little bit worried that you kind of isolate a little bit in there, which is fine. Like, I get it. When I'm at your place and I'm in Vegas, I don't go to Vegas. I go hang out at your house.
Well,
and that's all. Like,
you've been here enough
when
times
people ask me
to see the difference between what the city's like and what it is out here, and it's like, it's nice here.
Yes.
It's
absolutely. And but I mean, even just like the outskirts of Henderson, you and I barely like venture out. Every once in a while we'll go get food, but then we just go right back to the house. And I think we went to a movie once, but for the most part, or we'll go shooting, right? So, but even I work in Vegas when I'm there, and I don't make pit stops. I don't go, I'll go check this out or go do that thing while I'm here, since, and it's actually kind of comical to a lot of the people that know I make those trips up here. They're, what do you do when you're down there? It's like literally nothing. I literally go to work and then I go back to the house and we'll put something on the smoker or just cook something up. And then we'll play Mario Golf and like just shoot the shit and actually not actually do anything. If it's above 104, I'll get in the pool. Right. But like, outside of that.
No, and I get that a lot.
Because once you get down,
when I moved down here, everyone's like, you must love the, gaming and gambling. And I'm like, I could give a shit about that stuff. Like I'll sneak in there if there's a new restaurant I want to check out once in a while. The most I went into town, I think I think it was last year. I went to 3 lecture series in a row featuring like Gad Sad, Jordan Peterson, and I don't remember the third person off the top of my head. But it's like, dude, you got to fight traffic. You got to deal with the crooks downtown. You got to deal, you know what I mean? Like parking's $40.
It's a real pain.
Oh,
yeah.
And you look around my house, you're like,
down there.
Well, here's a dude that has really eccentric hobbies or whatever, and it's like, not really. I spend a lot of time in the garage tinkering on shit, or investing time in writing and making music, or sometimes playing video games, but I try to balance that out. But I do need to get out of the house more.
So well, for me, I've got a number of things. There's certain things that I really want to get done. My son, I've got one more year, and due to COVID and the downturn of the economy and everything, it really has put on the back burner my ability to put him in braces for his teeth, like I did for my daughter. And it's only fair, and that's been one of my number one goals. And so I'm hoping to get that done this year. And then from there, I want to get my wife a new car. That's on the list of things that I need to do this year, is make sure I get her a car and get him in braces. From that point on, for me personally, I think my health is something I need to really start to focus on. Crawling in on 50 is something that I think I need to not get behind the 8 ball on. And
even the way you framed that, you're not kicking the door in on 50, you're crawling in on.
Yeah. So I'm 47 and a half.
Yeah.
But I hate the gym. Like we were going to the gym for a while, and I just can't get used to gym culture. I can't get used to being under. I know nobody else is looking at you, and I normally don't have
you think that until you see influencers filming themselves doing it, and you're like, I don't want to be on camera in the background. Like, it's real.
Right.
You're right.
Oh yeah. And I just it's a shrine typically to vanity. I know some people are there for the right reasons, but for the most part, it's just kind of like, I grew up in a way that you kept fit and you built muscle from just hard labor, chopping wood and, like hucking hay bales and stuff like that. And those, cowboy fit. Right. And so to me, it's productivity that keeps you fit. And I sit all day, for a living. So I don't like that. I'm sedentary and I know it, but I also cannot get my head into the into the gym. Like Erin, my wife, loves it. She can turn everything off and she can do reps and do, like, she's got her whole regiments and she's really good at it. She does not mind. In fact, I think kind of enjoys gym culture. I do not have that mindset. So part of what I want to do, and my wife is totally on board with this, is we have a very large garage that we have not organized since we moved into this place. It's getting there, but there's still big chunks of it. But there's enough room that I can set up the treadmill that we have, the weight bench, and a whole bunch of other areas for us to be able to actually do in-house workouts. And so that's one of the things I would like to do, because I would be far, far more apt to work out at home than I am going to go and regiment time and put it down that, oh, I'm here. I don't have to worry about anything. I can just put on a pair of sweats and go out there and go. Right. And then hit the showers in my house, not in a weird, purple gym.
Right. Yeah.
And so
It's a judgment-free zone there, though.
Well, I'm not really, because I'm the one judging.
They say that, but also every gym locker room has an old naked man in it, and I'm tired of that.
Yeah.
Like, that's happened at every gym. I used to go to that one in West Seattle for a year and a half or so, and I was like, this guy, come on, man, just can I get you a fig leaf or something? Like, what are we doing here? Like,
yeah.
So
I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't, and to be fair and to be honest, locally here, Erin and I are very well known. We, between what I do and what she does, we are very well known. It is hard to go anywhere without running into 5 people that we know. And not all of those people like us a lot. In fact, some of them hate us with almost a criminal level. Yeah. So I don't want to run into those people. I can avoid them in a grocery store, but if you're stuck with a bunch of mirrors around you in a gym, you know, like it's a different environment. And so I just don't like it. So
I just figured out how we could be billionaires. You ready for this? We'll just keep it between you and me, not like we're live streaming or anything. So you know how you have the privacy screen when you're doing tattoos in sensitive areas on clients and stuff? Privacy screens for the gym. You just hit a button and you have like a little drop down on your machine. It's got like a 10-minute timer. You can see the timer going off, and then it goes up, and then you have to take the mirrors out. Put one over there for the one guy that has to check on his form the whole time, and let that guy do what he's doing, and then leave me alone. Privacy screens, gyms. That's it.
I think that's a really good idea. I think we should look into that. But the other thing outside of fitness and my health, I think, and then the other things with financially, I really have been, it's been kind of weighing on me, and not in a bad way. I've been just feeling really motivated to somehow, and I don't know what avenue, I don't know what direction, but somehow get into ministry of some kind, whether it be just helping out with the church or in some other capacity, whether it be helping out young adults or helping out doing a Bible study. I don't know what the path for it is, but I'm feeling really tugged and really kind of motivated in a direction to do something involved in ministry this year. Like, I've been playing around with it for the last couple of years, the ideas, but never really, I've been just kind of waiting for the door to open. I'm like, God, if you want me in this type of environment, if you want me in the ministry of any kind, put me in it, because in the meantime, I'm just going to keep coloring on people and tending to my family. But if you need me in any other capacity, which I'm feeling pulled and drawn to, you're going to have to open the door and push me through it, because I don't know where you want me in that regard. I'm hoping that happens this year. I'm going to kind of look into options and see if my schedule and everything, it all aligns and fits properly. But I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, those are kind of my goals for for 2026. Those four things are kind of where I've set my,
Yeah.
my focus on. So, but
Nice.
yeah, outside of that,
So those are big goals.
so, let's get into the news. Let's get into some
Let's do
topics.
Let's talk about it.
Well, we can't avoid the biggest topic in the news right now because it is everywhere and everything right now.
Their new Pop-Tart flavor, or it must be Maduro.
Yep. It is Maduro.
Yeah, I got
bacon cheddar Pop-Tarts.
I got a weird take on this Maduro thing, which spawned from a argument around somebody touting free Maduro, and I put some thought into it, which I'll share here. But lead us off. So Maduro, a Venezuelan dictator, been in power since his predecessor, lost an election, stayed in power because had military support, is a narco-terrorist on classification from every bureau in America, was indicted in 2020 in October by a U.S. federal court for being a narco-terrorist and conspiracy to import cocaine to the United States. And then they raised, the DOJ raised the arrest award to $50 million this year. What am I missing here? He was arrested and he was sent to a federal holding facility. And what's going on? Like, besides the backlash from the virtue signal culture, what's going on with Maduro? I think you're on mute. I can see your mouth moving. Yeah.
So what I was saying earlier when I was on mute is that the 2020 indictment on him was, we need to remember that was under the Biden administration.
It was.
So this was not put into place by Trump.
Right.
So we need to keep that in mind, that a lot of the criminal activity that he was indicted with was through the DOJ and the administration of Biden. So all of what is enacted in the last couple of days was because of what the Biden administration allowed for.
Mm-hmm.
It was, the legalities of it was already set. The precedent was already set from the previous administration. So they were just using what was given to them. But there's a couple of things to keep in mind. First of all, Maduro obviously had taken over under a dictatorship because he denied the last election at a 70% rate. He lost by 70%. So, and he decided to throw all that away in the trash and just say he won and took over. But
then criminalized his opponent, right? Like his opponent
he did
fled to like Spain or something for asylum, no?
They had to flee, yes, because he actually took over a giant building. It's a weird shaped, like kind of giant domed building in the middle of, and turned it into it was a mall or of some kind, or a hotel, and they turned it into a prison for all of the dissidents, all of the people who were going against the Maduro regime. And he was handpicked by Hugo Chavez as his predecessor when he died, and he refused to leave power. And but during that time frame, he's also brought in so that China could get around sanctions from the United States and get around. He's allowed them access to the Venezuelan oil. Both Russia and China and Iran to actually go around and actually set up military bases within Venezuela, which is against the Monroe Doctrine. And also Roosevelt added on to that doctrine, which is saying that the Western Hemisphere belongs to the United States and you're not allowed to cross over it. We will protect it if you're in the Western Hemisphere, it is ours to protect, and we will take action. That's a Monroe ruling, like back when Monroe was president. Like he set that forth, and Roosevelt actually added on to it.
That's been recognized on the world stage since it was written in the late 1800s. So that's not new.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And so it's just the first time that a president has actually acted upon it. So, or needed to.
That's where my argument jumps in against people that are saying, you know, free Maduro. They're like, it's unprecedented. And I love the headline language. I was like, you're absolutely right. Let me see if I can dig up a precedent. Al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden, Ayman al-Zawahiri, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. That's just Al-Qaeda. Let's go back from 2000s to 2010s. The Islamic States or ISIS, Abu Bakr, Muhammad al-Adani, Ibrahim. Let's go further back into 1982. We'll talk about Hezbollah. Ahmad Magoya, Hassan Nasrallah, Mustafa Baderini. Let's go further back into 1987. The Sheikhs, Muhammad Daif. Let's go back even further. We'll go to the late 1980s. We'll talk about Taiba, Al-Shabaab. You want to go further back? You want to talk about the Taliban in the 1990s? Haqqanis. Do you remember the Haqqanis? Like a full fucking list with proof positive, like genocidal, harmful attacks to the Western Hemisphere. Let's go back to the 70s. We'll talk about the Abdul Nadal organization. Here's my bottom line takeaway, and this is what I wrote. From basically the 70s onward, across multiple religions and ideologies, the United States has repeatedly targeted foreign-based terrorists or narco-terrorists through indictments, sanctions, special operations, drone strikes, and international manhunts, demonstrating that overseas counterterrorism action is not rare, new, or exceptional, but a recurring feature of the United States national security policy. So you tell me where Free Mamdani is some form of exception to that.
Free Maduro,
or
not
Maduro.
Mamdani.
Mamdani's next on my list. Zero
Free New York
response.
for Mamdani.
No reply.
Yeah. The reality is,
we do this all the time.
Maduro.
It's terrorism,
Right.
like into the Monroe Doctrine or not, which is a massive feature of quick reaction for sure. Cuba Missile Crisis, I think something about coming over here. There was a big deal. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Like that. That's the threshold for quick reaction, in my opinion. But the feature of overseas counterterrorism is a staple of national security policy in this country's history as far back as I could look.
Right.
With repeated examples. That was just 3 per decade that I decided to like find lists for and cite crimes against. Like, so don't give me this bullshit. Oh, it's all about oil and we're stealing and we have no business in their country. Really? Like, I disagree.
This is coming from the people who just mere months ago were all flooding the streets of the United States with the No Kings protest. So no kings, but this guy. This guy's okay to be a king? Okay, cool. Same people. But furthermore, like Maduro, like what the, you know, we could talk about the oil and we could talk about the fact that the Venezuelan gangs that we were just having problems taking over apartment complexes all over the United States. We can talk about the amount of drugs that they've been bringing into our country on purpose under Maduro because he was a drug overlord. Like that was his main purpose. He could take over a country and actually be a drug dealing country that actually brought all that over here. That stops. All of that stops. Remember the Maryland man or whatever, the guy that we were trying to ship back to Venezuela and they kept kicking him back over here. No more of that. Now we get to deport all of the Venezuelans back to Venezuela where they belong. And in fact, people are going to start coming back on their own. Right. There's somewhere in the amount of 80 million people from Venezuela that have fled Venezuela that are now cheering, going, I get to go back home. And they're going to start going back home. In fact, they've already started.
We could call the American action draconian if we want to, but he lost an election a couple of years back by a margin of 70%. So to your point, many of those people are going to be thrilled to go home, not under the dictatorship of somebody who lost an election, by the way.
Right. Absolutely. They fled that area. Now they get to go back home.
Right.
And so it's going to be, and it was such a chess move, and people are like, "Ooh, 5D chess, Trump is lame." But I'm sorry, on the global, like, if anything else you don't think Trump did was a 5D chess move, you have to look at this and go, this has implications towards how China is going to handle Hong Kong. This is going to have implications on anything Cuba thinks about doing.
Taiwan.
Any other... Oh, that's what I meant. Yeah. Taiwan.
Mamdani, Maduro, it happens.
North Korea, South Korea conflicts, anything like that, they're going to go, oh, we better reevaluate and tread carefully if we plan on doing anything.
Yeah, for the doubters, you had sent me something on Instagram that was articulated really well, but the best way I can paraphrase is for the doubters out there on the whole, well, how does this impact, besides obvious military base placement, China, Iran, Russia, plus the fact that a little while ago you had mentioned the oil reserves and the way that it's been skirting U.S. sanctions to get in and out of China and these other countries. The reason that that's super duper impactful is because A, that stops, and B, they can't launder money by basically leveraging Venezuela as a way to get out from underneath that as a refinement point. And it does fit into the Monroe Doctrine because the Monroe Doctrine is also set in place to protect raw natural resources and assets, lithium and crude oil and, things that are native to the Americas in the Western Hemisphere. So the tangible how comes down to, well, it takes a lot of logistics to run conflict areas. So for the China piece to Taiwan, it's going to be refueling battle cruisers and getting food and stuff over to the troops and all that stuff. And similarly in the Middle East, if Iran's trying to stockhold, spreading more, I think it's ISIS that's the prominent, that's who took over right when we pulled out of Afghanistan, right? Or was that Al-Qaeda? I cannot remember now. Suddenly the white flags, I don't read Arabic, so I couldn't tell you, that one's Burger King. That one's McDonald's, right? But basically, it's going to crush logistics if there's no fuel, you can't move the trucks, boats, and planes around to service your ongoing effort in conflict areas, right? So this is massively big.
It'll be way more expensive.
Correct.
To the point of crippling their economy if they try to do that type of military operation to take over Taiwan or whatever. They're not going to be able to do it now without, the risk is too high because the money's too high.
Yeah.
And so if they were exploiting Venezuela because Venezuela owes China an enormous amount of money, billions of dollars, and they were taking their payment in oil and gas.
Correct.
What that does is then it fuels their entire military with no money. So basically Venezuela is funding these operations to do takeovers of Taiwan or of South Korea or whatever the case may be. They'd be able to do that through this. We just cut that off. They're not able to do that anymore. So
I think the most immediate material impact to the average American consumer as a result of this is probably going to be something like higher tariffs and lower gas prices would be my guess.
Yeah. So from what I'm gathering, within a matter of a couple of months, because we are seizing control of the government there until they get to implement their own electoral government that they all agree upon, that's free and clear, like the last one, except for it didn't happen. But in the meantime, we're going to be setting up base there, and we're going to be actually importing oil and gas from there, which I'm totally okay with, because guess what? That just means all of our trucking, all of our shipping, all of everything, all of our gas prices are going to go down, but also all of our goods and services prices are going to go down. So And this is exactly what he said he was going to do. He was going to tariff stuff and then have other plans. And I'm okay with all of that. I don't understand why people think that this is like some type of weird colonialism. I don't see a bad aspect of it. We're getting rid of the drugs. We're getting rid of the cartels. We're getting rid of the gang members. We're got rid of a dictator. The people there are in the streets cheering.
That was named an enemy by
thousands.
By the Biden administration, by the way.
Right. So the people of Venezuela could not be more happy. In fact, they are cheering in the streets in the hundreds of thousands. People who have left are now migrating back. So we fixed the migration problem as well of Venezuela. There's so many benefits to this, but really, ultimately, I think the motivation, although we had all of these reasons to go in there that added up to a point that we wouldn't even need this other thing, but I think this other thing is the driving factor. But the one thing that Trump has not shut up about, that every single person, even in his camp, has kind of told him, dude, we get it, but there's not, let's just move forward, is his gripe about the stolen 2020 election, allegedly. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna say some things allegedly in this segment because I've seen people getting taken off of social media for certain things regarding this. Now, during the 2020 election, we all know that there was a big hubbubaloo. In fact, people were getting fired from Fox News and other places for even bringing it up. But the Smartmatic and what's the Dominion machines that were the tally counters for all of the electoral process around our country seemed to be at the center of what at the time was a conspiracy, that this was an election.
It's the most plausible smoking gun were the machines, not malpractice.
Right, exactly. Right. So, but all of those servers were in Venezuela under Maduro. And so, and that's not a conspiracy. That's not debatable. The guy who invented those machines actually lives in Venezuela. All of the servers where all of the information was kept. That's why they couldn't get to it, and that Venezuela kept coming up in topics over 21 and 22 is because of that. And they're all there. And this mission, there wasn't a single casualty. It lasted like 6 minutes and 34 seconds, something like that, where they targeted bombing, they got in and out, got the stuff they needed, got Maduro, and were gone and out of the country within 6 minutes and 34 seconds. Mm-hmm. Not a single innocent casualty. Now, that being said, from what I understand, the speech where Will from Stranger Things comes out as gay was 20 seconds longer than this operation. So that should tell you that this is the more, like, I've never seen Hegseth and Rubio, their chests more puffed out and crowing about any of their other operations. Like, they're very, diligent about their work, and they're like, yes, we had to do this. Yes, the Iran missions were very well done. But they're pretty much cut and dry as far as their demeanor goes. This one, they're popping their collars and coming in chest first. Mm-hmm. They knew what they were going in there for. And all of the other stuff is just added bonuses. All of it. And it's all good. There's not any back.
Even the intangible bonuses, like, imagine what Mexico thinks of this. Like, 6 minutes was all it took to basically uproot the Venezuelan government from a dictator stronghold perspective. Like, maybe they are pretty serious about the gangs and the immigration and the drugs coming in from the cartels,
It literally put the world on notice. Yeah. Every single person who was in the pocket of Maduro, who, in fact, there's a whole bunch coming out right now that there were a lot of our senators and congressmen, which
I've seen these lists. Yeah.
Yeah, and some of it's not good. You know, you got Rand Paul in there. You've got some people that are relatively trusted on our side that are it's coming out that they were taking kickbacks from the Maduro government, and we'll see how that all how that all falls out. But like, it's pretty wild. But yeah, this puts the rest of anybody who was in the pocket of Maduro, anybody who was on his side, any of the South American dictators, because there's a couple more, and this is really kind of makes them go, we better, toe the line here, because if it was that easy,
Yeah.
there was a bunch of people, internet type folk who were crowing on and on about how the Russians were going to send in people to help protect Maduro, and good luck Americans. And man, they had to eat a lot of crow.
Mhm.
A lot of influencers are now probably taking a couple of days off because they were pretty mouthy about how that was going to go down. And yeah, we should see. I mean, I'm really looking forward to the next couple of weeks of how this all plays out. But we got to remember, we're 1 year in. That's it. 1 year into the Trump presidency. It has felt like 5, but it's 1 year in, and people have been complaining, bitching and moaning that he hasn't done enough. He hasn't done what he said he was going to do, this and that. Not enough people are being deported, not enough, I've been thoroughly happy thus far. The economy sucks, but we knew that was going to happen.
We talked about that.
It was going to take some.
We both said that was going to be a really long tail, and things will get more expensive before they get better, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, but you've got these far left blue hair and pink hair crazy people who are in the No Kings protests, but they're also in the Free Palestine protests that are all absolutely against Maduro being kidnapped, and that we're playing colonizer and world police. What's funny is that you've got the other side of the spectrum where all of and it's weird. Nick Fuentes is playing a weird game where he's flipping to seem more moderate on a lot of things because he's trying to mainstream himself. So I don't trust him and his opinion but he's actually for this, which is weird.
Right that in my calendar. It's January 6th. You stop trusting him right now. Got it.
Right. But there's the bigger swath of that contingent of the far right guys, which is just less left.
Let's just start a new moniker. They're not conservatives. Their ideology is not aligned at all with conservatism in one respect, not one.
No.
So I don't treat them as far right. I don't treat them right at all.
Right. You're 100% correct. And we could break that down in an episode if people want, but like why we think that, because even, they'll be like, we're anti-abortion. Depends on who's having the abortion.
Right.
You're actually eugenicists. So let's not, and a lot of your ideology actually plays into Darwinistic kind of theories, hierarchies of genetics, stuff like that. So there's a lot that, if you break it down, you're nowhere near right leaning.
Right.
They're actually embracing socialism now, a whole bunch of other stuff. It's been mask off for last 6 months with a lot of these guys, but they're on the side of free Maduro, and we shouldn't be doing this, and it's forever wars. It's not forever wars. There is no war.
Right.
We did the right thing, but their knee-jerk reaction
on
is
your
to
truck
just
over there. It's called Superior White. Oh, that's what it was. Got it. Yeah.
But
those guys are jackasses.
They really are. But what they are doing is is a knee-jerk reaction. They've all turned on Trump now because he's too pro-Israel.
Sure.
So now he's a Zionist president, and they all hate him. And they had some of them had started turning against him during the election and told everybody to vote for Kamala Harris, Nick being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But now they just hate him. Anything he does, they ridicule him. He's too pro-Zionist for them, and he's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing. It was all, everybody got duped. You know, here's your award for getting fooled again for voting for him, kind of stuff. But so they're siding with these leftists once again, because they seem to keep doing that. They're siding with the leftists on this because they think that ultimately it's more about the banking systems, that the Jews are now going to implement usury, and the Jews are going to be all involved in the Venezuela project.
I strongly feel it's ultimately about whatever suits their narrative point for the day.
Yeah,
like they've flip-flopped so hard on support for multiple big body governmental PACs to trying to find the farthest reaches of universal what ifs to connect things to Jewish culture. Like
that,
it's absurd.
I know.
Now it's the world banking system, and the Jews are clearly behind that. Is that the topic of the hour?
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Because it's going to take them off of BRICS and keep them on the US dollar, which is actually the Jewish dollar. So
I didn't know that.
That's actually So
see, I learned something new every J6. You know what I mean? It's January 6th again.
Which is odd that we're actually not talking about J6 stuff.
My eyes are open. I know, I had to throw that in there. Isn't it funny how that shit falls out of favor with a Republican president? You're not getting a lot of news coverage on J6 today, are you? No, weird. That was brutalizing every algorithm to every account I connect to social media on since it happened up until this year. By the way,
yeah,
wow, and just small takeaway. Yeah, that.
Yeah,
what a joke.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of they're idiots. So, but yeah, there is that group that is siding with them because of the fact that any knee-jerk reaction just to go against Trump right now, they automatically jump on and then they pull in justifications afterwards. Mm-hmm. They're like, it's got to be bad and it's got to be connected to the Jews. Now we just need to figure out how. So, and that's kind of how they operate. So, but yeah, we'll see how the pundits start to, because Tucker's going to jump in on this. He's going to be wrong on it. That's the thing, is that they think that the justification, like Tucker was saying, and a lot of these, Groyper guys are saying, is that the only reason we took it down is because they're the most conservative country in all of South America, because they banned abortion, they banned porn, they banned same-sex marriage, they banned, going down the list, saying that
who else banned all those things, by the way? Al-Qaeda. Is that the most conservative nation in the Middle East right now? Is those being controlled by those terrorists?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It also had nothing to do with Maduro.
Right.
They banned abortion in 1926.
Maduro was a young man back then.
Right. And then in 2000, they revamped that law to basically say, unless it's going to kill the mother. That's the only modification that they made in 2000. Now, in the 90s, they banned porn sites, but did not ban porn as a general thing. Same-sex marriage was banned
to my knowledge. You still have to use like VPNs and pretend you're coming from a different country and stuff if it's known you're on their networks, but other type of tomato.
Right. Yeah. So, and then as far as same-sex marriage, they did put a ban, but it was like in 2008 or 9.
Yeah.
So before his reign. So he wasn't anywhere near there. So, that was under Chavez when that happened. And,
brilliant I highly doubt Chavez, it was by the way.
And I highly doubt it was for Christian belief systems. Like, it wasn't because of that. It was just,
Him and
Yeah,
Jesus
right?
just
So, like,
kicking back on, amendments.
so for
That's
them to
great.
defend it, for them to defend it as the most socially conservative country because
Right.
they're applying their Christian values onto it is absurd on its face, but also historically just untrue.
Right.
And so,
It's that universal
but Tucker
thread of
came out and
clue
said that.
finding I was talking about, where they're just trying to pick points to be like that because this, because tangentially that might have been this. Like,
And they frame it in a particular way where
Yeah.
they cherry pick stuff and leave stuff out. And so, and then all of a sudden you have this narrative.
that's an always,
Yeah.
that's a bread and butter of the Groyper movement, is leaving some key
Yeah.
facts out, like most of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man.
So that's my 2 cents on Venezuela. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks to months, and I have a feeling that there was more than meets the eye when it comes to that operation in its entirety.
And here's the other side.
But even if there isn't, I'm totally okay with all the other stuff that represents. So
Here's the other side of the argument. I will also equally not be surprised if 14 days from now we find out that there was some oil grubbing corruption involved in part of the plan and package of going over there. Because you know what? The United States government on both sides have been up to this type of activity through 3-letter agencies for a long time.
For a long time. And, on its face, if that's all it is, and we got rid of a dictator to do it and made a bunch of Venezuelan people happy,
70+%
of
the aggregate population was excited about it, that's still a net win. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a net win, and I'm okay if the benefits of it is we get oil out of it. I have no problem with that at all.
Yeah, with no civilian casualties, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Yep.
That seems like a pretty awesome situation to me.
Yeah,
I don't see any problem with it.
A battalion of tanks storming through and laying waste to a major city to get to him, and there were many dead. Like, we'd clearly be having a different discussion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, on to some lighter news then. The daycare system.
Yeah.
Jesus.
From one to the next. Yeah. So
what's going on? What's up with the kids?
Well, it's not a new story. This was breaking in like 2018 and 2019, and it kind of just died for a little while because we didn't have an administration that would actually pay attention to this. In fact, we're benefiting from it. So in certain areas of the country, we have seen a large rise of migrated Somali populations. And it's not just in, you hear about Dearborn, Michigan, and you hear about Minnesota, and you hear about parts of Texas now, and there's little pockets of them, but there was a big Somali population in Seattle, South Seattle.
Yep.
They're
Seattle.
huge.
Yep.
And so, and there's always been a suspicion of, that there was shenanigans going on because they always had really nice cars and they always had the phones tucked in their hijabs that were on because they weren't allowed to be away from their husbands without being in contact with them. So, and they would come in with EBT cards and buy 3 carts full of bulk groceries on EBT, put it into their Range Rover, and then drive it to their restaurants,
right,
where then they would use all of that food to sell back to people after just getting it from taxpayers.
Right.
So, and it was obvious. It was obvious around, but there was even daycares going on in that area that I never saw kids come in and out of. And they were sketchy. They were in those neighborhoods, and you never once saw a kid go in and out of any of those daycares. The windows are all boarded up, and I know because I had kids at daycare during that time frame in that area. And so you notice these things. You notice different daycares just in case you need options, right? And so there's a lot of them that don't seem to be operating. They say they're open, but nothing's going on there. You knock on a door,
Yeah.
No one opens. Okay,
So-
go to the next one.
Some had buildings and stuff,
so-
but there are turning out to be many that were basically essentially just a PO box to send money to get subsidized daycare
Right.
money from the U.S. government. Right.
Now, that being said, this broke right after Christmas from a 23-year-old kid who was doing just YouTube stuff and got into light politics. And his name's Nick Shirley, and he's, a baby-faced little blonde kid that hooked up with this guy who'd been like screaming at the government in Minnesota for apparently a couple of years now about all of this fraud that was going on. Well, they decided to get together with some cameras and just go start knocking on doors, and it went crazy viral.
Mm-hmm.
And to the point where within hours, government agencies were coming in to actually do investigations within hours of him posting this video.
Right.
And they're continuing on with the videos, and they're still doing them. Even under, he's been getting tons of death threats. He's been chased down by Somalis have been chasing him down, and even a bunch of other leftist, communist nutbags. But basically, in the tune of billions in just the state of Minnesota. Billions of dollars overspread, and what they do is they take that money and then they take it to the airports where they have Somali contacts, because I always thought it was really weird that in Spokane, Washington, not that it's, I've ever had a problem with Somalis per se, but it's very weird that in Spokane, Washington, of all places, all of the people who work at all the little marts and stuff and the ground crew are all Somalis.
Right.
And I'm like, why are you all working at the airport? This is super weird. Well, it turns out there's a reason for that. It turns out that's the other end of shipping that money back to different organizations. Now, part of it goes to the Democrat Party to keep that loop going, that circle going, and keep getting people elected that will help support this scam, but all like Tim Walz and all these. But also they send a bunch of money back home to where that money then goes to different, like Boko Haram and different terrorist organizations, and then to feed some of their families over there. But by the time it dwindles out, it goes throughout all of those things. But all the we're paying for it. All the taxpayers are paying for this, and this isn't just going on in those heavy pocket areas. It's going on in Idaho. They found a bunch down at Boise. It's going on all over Washington. Cam Higbee has decided to pick up the torch for Washington State, and he is going everywhere and finding all sorts of them, which we knew was going on. But I can't imagine that there's a state in the union right now. Maybe not Alaska. It'd be pretty hard to pull that off in Alaska. But I would say 80% of the states within the United States have something of this going on, not only in the daycare, but probably other types of businesses as well, healthcare businesses, insurance companies, and then restaurants as well.
Yeah, I started digging into this, and I think a lot of us don't talk about this probably enough, but there was a big thing that was like a flash in the pan in the news media. There was a COVID era $250 million scheme that did get brought to light, which now includes, I think, north of 75 or 85 defendants in this case. But it essentially revolved around a nonprofit group called Feeding Our Future. Do you remember this? The group claimed to work with restaurants and caterers to distribute meals to schools and other extracurricular programs. Right. But instead, they just submitted a shitload of fake meal sheets and invoices, raking in millions of administrative fees from subsidized taxpayer dollars. And then they got kickbacks from people who ran the meal distribution sites. So like the Feeding Our Future lady, the Amy Brock chick, she was convicted last year, I think. And a bunch of other people involved in the schemes have all pled guilty or been convicted already. So like this is a thing that's toppling down. But when you look at the daycare piece that you're referencing now, that's kind of the blueprint, because Republican leadership are tossing around somewhere around $9 billion of fraud being estimated in this. That's the number that keeps going on and on. And then, thank God for real Americans like Tim Walz, the brilliant governor of Minnesota, that called the Trump administration, and I quote, vile, racist lies and slander toward our fellow Minnesotans, end quote. And then his actions that he took, and I'm proud of him for doing it, promptly announced that he's dropping his presidential reelection campaign.
Oh, it's governor re-election campaign. He's actually running for governor.
Yeah, sorry.
He's dropping out.
Yeah, he's just not going to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So,
nope.
Gotta love the backbone, Timmy. He's still astounding.
I would imagine that there's a team of lawyers, government lawyers, looking, sitting in a room with that guy going, the mountain of paperwork we have that connects you to this. It would be in your best interest to
time to hang him up, dude.
And yeah,
buy a little piece of property somewhere that they'll accept you, like Idaho. Move up there. Join the other governors that have washed out of their blue states.
I'm not saying it would be me specifically, but I just know the people of my area. Mr. Waltz, I would highly advise against moving anywhere near this state.
Jay Inslee considered it, and so did what was her, Kate Brown? Is that what her name was? Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
get Timmy up there. You guys got a little compound. Maybe they'll open a daycare.
It would have to be a fort. It would have to be a defended fort, and even that would probably still be not advisable.
They could open a daycare.
The people of this area like to ruckus, and it is not a.
If that's not just,
oftentimes they.
I was going to say, if that's not just actions speaking louder than words that immediately throw some strongly worded finger points out at the Republican Party and then fuck off out of your own state as governor. Am I misreading this? Come on, dude.
No. Yeah. So this is I don't think we've seen even the half of this. I think that this is we just open the can and we're looking inside of it. And when you start thinking back to 2018 and even way before, this was back when we were living in Kent. So 2015, 2014, these are things we were noticing back then.
Yeah.
So this is not a new thing. So it goes deep. It's got many roots and many branches, and it's going to be a hard thing to pull out, but it's all connected. And so once you realize that it is, it's going to be crazy. If you
thought the public records in the public sector tax-funded initiatives were fucking crazy to read during the height of I forgot the acronym now, the Elon Musk department that he started up.
God,
not even been a year. Doge. If you thought the Doge stuff was bad, if they're estimating $9 billion and more of these nonprofits get exposed for deep corruption like this on the public sector,
I would imagine they're probably going to put together a Doge team for this. They're probably in the works of it now because it's going to be so big that they're going to need a full team to do this, and they're going to have to do it on a federal level. Working with the states, state by state, and just root all of this out. But it's going to happen.
Look, if you get convicted for crimes for defrauding people, and you're in the private sector, and you're doing NPO stuff, you've just bamboozled your donators, like Black Lives Matter, for example. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But taxpayer dollars, come on now.
Yeah. Well, did you know this is horrible. Once again, though, all propagated by the Jews.
Oh, Jesus.
So the narrative, I'm not kidding, dude. I literally was trying not to laugh when I was hearing this because,
oh my God,
our local yahoos tried to make this connection. This is their permanent. The way that they present this is that because Somali people on average have an IQ of between 65 and 75. Which is based off of their statistics. I would say that they're probably not a very genetically smart race of people, but there's definitely differences with a lot of different things, but there's plenty of smart Somalis. But they think that they got put up to this because they're not smart enough to do these scams. So the people putting them up to it,
I would like to point out for the record, what Lucky is talking about right now is not an opinion of either one of us. What he failed to mention is, by the way, the Groypers said ... I'll go ahead and finish.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, we're treading into some interesting territory here.
Right.
Just want to make a
that's exactly what I meant. So,
okay. Yeah.
So
we think this is horseshit.
Right. So, but this is what they say is that they do not have the mental faculties to pull something like this off.
Crazy.
So, right. So anything that Islam and the militant version of Islam, which is most Islam, if you look at Europe, if you look at anywhere else, and what happened in Australia and what happens in the United States, that they have no self-determination. None of it is their fault. They never give them the credit due. They never give them the blame. They always say they were put up to it by the Jews. Yeah. The Jews are the ones who put them up to it because they can't possibly have any self-determination. They can't possibly have their own motivations for doing these things.
Entire races of people that are being singled out and targeted as the prominent members of a scandal. All of them were subjugated by Jewish intent. Is the narrative? Is that what I'm hearing?
That is exactly the narrative of what you're hearing. So apparently, during the Crusades when we were fighting, who were we fighting again during the Crusades?
Oh, I think there was some Templar people and there were some Catholics it was Islam. That's what it was.
Right.
Yeah, so, I forgot. Sorry.
Historically, they have been very capable and very self-determined. Why is it today we've decided that they're not? Why is it in modern times we've decided that these people who have historically had taken over half the planet at certain points in time in history are somehow they are being puppeted by this other group of people to attack that same group of people most of the time so that that group of people can play victim? It is absurd upon absurd upon absurd, and it only is the narrative of people who really, really want a particular narrative. And so, but it's crazy to think that people who their whole culture is based around and they're prideful about it. This is, if you go to Egypt or if you go to Afghanistan or if you go to anywhere in the Middle East and you go there and you even just try to get a cab ride, that guy will go, yeah, $5, I'll drive you over there. Okay. So then you get in the car and he drives you over there and you get out and he goes $25. And you're like, that's not what you said. He goes, that's exactly what I said. And they'll bicker and barter and argue with you. It's part of their culture. What they want is to, if you have to argue back, you have to knock them down. They will respect you, actually, if you knock them down. So if you actually go, nope, you said 5. No, okay, then 15. No, 5. No, you're a bad person. You're a bad person. Give me 10. Nope, here's your $5. And then you walk away. That man will actually respect you more than if you capitulate and go, oh, here's 25. I'm sorry. Just don't yell at me.
Yeah, this happened to me in Spain, and I recorded the cab driver.
They will actually think that you're weak.
Yeah, this happened to me in Spain. I recorded the cab driver's quote and then sat down and then got hustled for extra money and said no and played back the recording of what he said. And he just kind of smiled and I handed him his dollars and I fucked off. I was like, nah.
I have to do that with my landlord. My landlord, who is from the Middle East, he actually is somebody for my tattoo shop. Yeah. And he tried to up my rent by $1,000 a month. And I was like, that's not going to happen. So I had to give him a bunch of evidence of other businesses that have shut down in the last 6 months within a certain mile radius. and other comps of other newer buildings that were less than what he was asking for, you know, all of these different things, and then go, I'm not giving you a penny more. You're not raising my rent at all. This building is falling apart. The electrical, the plumbing, the roof, all of it is bad. Like you're not going to get anybody else in here. So either you take what I can give you or nothing.
Right.
And after a couple of back and forths and him trying to change this or try to add something in here, and I kept catching him, I ended up knocking him down to $100 extra a month, which is something I was willing to do. But he respects me more. He also, like, we had an air conditioning issue. I had to do it with that. You have to go to war with them. It's their culture. They love it, but they will scam anybody that they can. That's part of what their culture allows them to do. They take pride in it. So to think that this is somehow a nefarious Jewish plot, and that it's not just part of the Middle Eastern African Muslim culture, which it is, it's just the thing.
Yeah. The idea of it
is absurd. It's absurd on its face. Yeah, but they are currently taking us to the cleaners. And they are propagating the Democratic Party by doing it. They are propagating terrorism across the seas by doing it, and it needs to stop in every single state. So God bless anybody who is got the bravery, because it's going to take some bravery to go out and do the actual door-to-door research for this. And I hope to see more of it, and I hope to see a Doge-like team jump on it and really start rooting it out, because it's gonna get ugly.
Yeah, wait. I just don't know. I don't know, man. I want to make a bunch of friends with a bunch of Jewish people and be like, all right, guys, real talk. Where's your Illuminati group? Let's go. Tell me what goes on in this deep cabal where you're running world politics at every turn. Like, it's so absurd.
It is. And I'm tired of having to hear about it or fight it, you know, all of those things. But here we are, you know.
Man. New Year, same gropers, I guess.
Yeah. They still haven't made any movement. So we're still holding them back, which is good. But outside of that, I think we have not seen the last of this. It just kind of got overshadowed by Venezuela. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Hello, S-Lance 23. Welcome back. Yeah. Oof. You want to talk about some conspiracies?
Let's do it.
All right. Conspiracy corner time. That's one of my New Year's goals right there, is to figure out why every time I put aluminum foil on my head, my jaw starts hurting. I must have the craziest silver fillings. They must be pure silver. I don't know. Or I have an empty head. That's also a possibility. Just hollow. So you have Montauk written down, and then you had
I do.
You had a very clever way of showing me the notes in the pre-show. Included is like this line, like you're trying to like reduce suspects on a list, and then you've got it circled a couple of times, and I think it says something to do with Stranger Things. This Montauk piece.
It is, yeah. I thought it would be
I've watched 0 episodes of Stranger Things, so you're gonna have to steer the ship on this one, man.
Okay. Well, there's been I thought it would just be fitting because the 5th and final season of Stranger Things just happened.
Okay.
And I haven't seen a single episode. I've seen everything up to season 4. But because it took so long for 5 to come out, I kind of lost interest.
Yeah.
Because I kind of forgot what happened in season 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. It's blurry. And so I'm like, I don't want to have to rewatch all of it in order to watch season 5. I just don't have the time. And so everybody was excited about 5 finally dropping, and I just kind of let it go. And it was of no surprise that they took what was an amazing show. It was very fun. Slapped a bunch of poor writing on it, and then did what Netflix does, was make it literally all about homosexuality and gayness. And I'm like, can't you just say, cool, kid's gay? Anyway, let's move on. But apparently it was such a heavy plot point that the 6-minute and 52-second speech about one of the main characters coming out was it's crazy. It
Oh,
took
that's
up
where you
nearly
got that from.
7
So
minutes.
that monologue took longer than the capture of Maduro
To
in
the way to
Venezuela. Got it. Okay,
Yeah, right.
I see.
So, but this, I'm hesitant to go watch season 5 because now there's a bunch of speculation that they fooled everyone and there's going to be a surprise episode that, because apparently the ending didn't land anywhere near what people thought it would.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of stuff in there that they left wide open and strings that didn't get connected and all sorts of stuff. People are very, very unhappy with the finale. I don't know. I will probably eventually watch it. It's just I haven't done it yet. However, the premise of Stranger Things, the entirety, it's basically an 80s nostalgia sci-fi horror drama show that got slapped over this very particular conspiracy that they borrowed from. And the conspiracy is the Montauk Project in Montauk, New York.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is an Air Force base station called Camp Hero in Montauk, New York. And it's there. It's a legitimate place, but it's very Area 51-ish. There's no one allowed to go anywhere near it. It's pretty closed off. There's a lot of, since the 60s, 70s, and 80s, there's been a lot of speculation, as a lot of experimentation, even involving the Philadelphia Project and a bunch of other things that have happened there. But this place does exist, and there's a lot of speculation that there was UFO research, but mainly more like the Monarch stuff, where you've got, what is it called when the sleeper cell agents that,
Oh yeah.
like
Big
what's
trope
it
in
called?
spy movies too.
Right, yeah.
Like
So-
you're activated kind of thing. Yeah, like there's
Right, exactly. So-
deep-seated behavioral programming initiatives and stuff. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And
Yeah.
then also the mind
Actually, the
power
entire
type of
Winter Soldier concept is predicated on this idea, by the way.
correct, yes.
Yeah, got it.
So, but even time travel stuff or psychological warfare or psychic abilities, such as what's the military movie with the killing goats one, the one where they could kill goats with their minds with George Clooney. And so there was, and Jeff Bridges, but it's based off of a true story of and I'm blanking on, there was a term for these guys and I can't remember what it is, but anyway, they are supposedly did a bunch of these type of experiments where they were also opening up portals and contacting all the other dimensional beings, and had kids in and out of there, and were doing genetic research on animals, and they basically played up all of the biggest hits from all of the different types of conspiracies that were built around it from the locals. And I would actually think that there's some truth in it. There's a couple of guys who did a documentary called The Montauk Chronicles, and Preston Nichols and Alfred Bielek, and Stuart Seward, they made a documentary, and there's a lot of people who claim to have been involved in it. But it's still fenced off and like MK Ultra. That's what I was thinking of. MK Ultra was,
yeah, I was actually Googling like what are common terms around some of these
yeah. So
sleeper
MK
cell
Ultra
agent
is
things. Yeah, I'm
right.
quite
So
familiar with MK Ultra. Yeah.
yeah, MK Ultra projects going on there. And but I honestly, hidden in plain sight, making a TV show about it to kind of like make it more fantasy.
Mhm.
I don't doubt that there was some stuff going on there. Now, as far as any evidence that has come out, the only evidence that you could say was maybe some of the animal stuff, because in July of 2008 they found a creature down shore from Montauk, and they called it the Montauk Monster, and it was a creature that nobody could really identify. It had kind of flipper paws, fur, but like a turtle or bird beak,
Yeah.
and ears, and you can Google it. But they found this on the beach, and it got quickly swept up by government agencies, and then they tried to explain it away as a mutated but decomposing raccoon, which if you're looking at it, you can tell because pictures of it got out before they could kind of seal it, because people were already throwing it on the internet and the papers had already gotten hold of it.
Yeah.
And it's nowhere near a raccoon. Anybody who's ever lived in the woods for 5 minutes could look at this thing and go, nope, not a raccoon. And I, as somebody who's been around a lot of wildlife, could not identify what this was. Like, it's just not something that really fits into any category that I could see maybe even being a mutated version of, or so it kind of lends to the story, lends to the idea that stuff was going on there and something got out.
Mhm.
But I also know that Hollywood very much likes to paint, at least hide truth within the concept of fantasy and put it out for people, and kind of telegraph what they're doing. And so this wouldn't surprise me if a version of the conspiracy that is the Montauk Project is true in some capacity. I don't doubt that we have people doing MK Ultra stuff in military bases. I mean, that got proven at a congressionral hearing in the 70s. So it's like, that's not even a conspiracy
Did you watch
theory.
that? I think it was called Wormwood on Netflix. It's like a documentary about MK Ultra and some of the people involved. It's very interesting.
Yeah,
and very widespread. Like, I didn't realize they were like on college campuses and stuff, recruiting people to do their own experiments with shit like this. But yeah, that part of like far reaches of expanding programs part doesn't surprise me at all. The whole Montauk Boys piece of it is a little really like,
But if you look at like even there's little snippets that they kind of like leak to the public about that MK Ultra stuff, like the opening sequence of Ghostbusters. The opening sequence of Ghostbusters has Dr. Venkman like doing the psychic cards thing, right? That was part of the MK Ultra experimentation stuff that they were doing in colleges all over the country. He was actually working for them under a government grant. And so
isn't the whole idea behind remote viewing and stuff also a stem off of MK Ultra as well? Of some kind? Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
But the MK Ultra stuff was also like using mind powers that they used in the military, and these people could use their minds and kill goats and stuff like that. So, but the Montauk Project, I love the idea of it in theory, as far as like what they're trying to build super soldiers or dimensional travel, or it's just kind of a catch-all for it's a junk drawer of what the military is trying to do with science that they shouldn't.
Yeah.
And so
I just even if they are, it can't be as big and salacious as everyone wants it to be, because
Oh yeah, that's why I said just a version of it.
but like, I just mean in the aggregate, right? Like, we have 4K, 6K, 8K capable cameras on the consumer market, let alone all the cameras we carry around that could shoot 1080 and 4K videos all the time in our pockets. Like, if it was that big and there was so much conspiracy to bury underneath all this stuff, like, it would have leaked by now. Something, aliens, MK Ultra experiments, psionic goat killing types of stuff. Like, I find it harder and harder to believe that we can box that stuff when so much shit does get leaked, especially confidential stuff, whether it's written down or not. It's getting harder and harder for me to buy into the fun stuff that you like to kind of like wriggle your fingers back and forth together and be like, really? Could this be? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure there is nefarious mad scientist testing going on. I'm sure of it.
For sure.
Like,
right.
You know,
but are they opening dimensions?
We resurrected
they...
dire wolves. We should probably leave extinct species where they're at. I'm just saying that I don't like playing in those waters. That's just me. But so, like, I get that this stuff occurs in crazy bases somewhere behind closed doors, but I don't know, man. I want someone to kick the door open and us to all see it. And the other thing that I find interesting is, like, even super top tier scientists in their field that get interviewed about, like, the existence of aliens or anti-gravity stuff or all the crazy shit that we buy into on the conspiracy piece, right? They're all like, well, if we're the world's foremost expert in physics, for example, like, why wouldn't any of our colleagues be part of the team that they drag in under NDA? And then if you press them on it, they're not scared, like, I can't talk about this or I don't want to talk about it. They're like, no. I mean, are they all that good at lying about it, or is there really just nothing there? You know what I mean? I've always kind of wondered, like, by now we should see some harder evidence than a blurry photo of the Loch Ness monster or, you know, a Bigfoot or something like that, you know, or the military photos of the Tic Tac and all that stuff where you're like, I want more, man. I want one of these to be like unequivocally, yep, that shit's going on.
Right.
I'm waiting for it. I was hoping this would be the one, but I'm kind of with you. Like, maybe there's some elements of truth in that we both believe, you know, mad scientist experiments probably occur. But to the degree of success and the effect around the community, I'm not there yet.
Well, reading into...
But I live in near Area 51, so maybe I've already been microwaved, you know?
But if you look into Camp Hero...
Yeah.
And Camp Hero is a 754-acre state park located in Montauk Point, New York.
Yeah.
And occupies a portion of the former Montauk Air Force Station. If you look into it, they tried to sell it in 1984. The General Services Administration attempted to sell the entire facility to the real estate developers. Local environmental activists protested, claiming that the site had many unique ecosystems and animal habitats. The remaining portions of the military reservation at Montauk were decommissioned. Most of the facility, including Camp Hero, was donated to the National Park Service, which then turned it over to the New York State Office of Parks and Recreation and Historical Preservation. Portions not deemed environmentally sensitive were sold off. So for a blue-spotted salamander, an eastern tiger salamander, like, they basically said, oh, it's preservation land because of these two salamanders that you can't find anywhere else. And Camp Hero was opened on the park was opened on September 18th of 2002. There were plans to create a museum and an interpretive center that will focus on World War II and the Cold War histories inside the radio tower. Some parts of the camp remained closed off and guarded, especially the areas near the old radar installations. So there's still, like, people who are going to fish around and be, you know, speculative of closed off areas and
Yeah.
such. But yeah, I don't know. Do I think that was going on? I do, but like you, I don't think it was as sensationalized as would make for a good TV show or
Yeah.
anything like that. I think it was probably just bad science happening in a dark corner. And
That sounds about right.
yeah, so
And scholars would argue that I was hatched, right? I mean, I may be a result of one of these experiments. Who knows? In the 80s, they called it adoption, but I mean, who really knows? Yeah, I don't know, man. There's a lot of stuff out there. Like, I remember recently, there was a whole big drive on the internet about all the thousands and thousands of people that were going to storm Area 51. Like, they can't get us all. And there's a really hilarious video done on this by the internet historian where they kind of go back and document all this stuff and all the viral videos and the Facebook group posts and all the stuff. And then like 10 kids showed up, like chewing on jerky, being like, yeah. And like nobody got in, nobody cared. And it just disappeared. It was like on the news, dude. There was like national security stuff worried about it, and like nobody showed up. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
what do you think, though? You think it's any more than that, or it's just bad science done in a dark room, and that's all Montauk is?
I don't know, because I know MK Ultra is real. I know the Philadelphia experiment was real.
Yeah.
I know that there are things that they do with our tax dollars that they don't want us to know every day, all day long, every day.
Not just Somalian daycares. Gotcha.
Right. So, do I think that they were working to try to find super soldier abilities? Or yes, because I mean, Russia's been doing it for eons, and same with the United States. But do I think that there's Manchurian candidate stuff? Do I think that there might be involved in some child abduction or trafficking that they were experimenting on in there? I wouldn't put it past.
Well, the human trafficking part I'm with you on, because I think that you may have mentioned this as well, I think, but I'm pretty sure that Epstein was a 3-letter agency asset being ran for some degree with the amount of connections he had. Yeah. But
do I digress. Think they were doing do I think they were doing animals, maybe splicing or experimentation? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do I think that they were opening up portals to other dimensions? No. I don't think they'd be doing that in a small facility in Montauk, because why would they do that when we have CERN,
or Area 51,
or Area 51? I think that, but no, I think that there was probably, it's close enough to DC, but just far enough away. I think that they had a preservation of land there that they could put a military base on that wasn't really strategic. So it was a facility for, experimentation of some kind, science facility, military science facility. Do I think stuff like that was going on? Yes, I do. Mm-hmm. Do I think that it was grandiose in the way of what like Stranger Things had made it out to be, or there was alien activity or anything like that? No, I don't think anything like that was going on. But I think human experimentation most likely was going on there. Do I think animal experimentation was most likely going on there? And I think that that's what that facility was for. So
I think one of my New Year's goals is to create my own conspiracy theory and like pilot it on this show, on one of these episodes. I want to try and make my own, see if we can catch fire, maybe get a book deal out of it.
All right. Ooh, that'd be nice. Yeah, I'm in.
Challenge accepted.
Cool.
Well, that was Conspiracy Corner this week. Montauk. Good times, man. That was actually kind of interesting because You're right. The tangential pieces and the connections that we've seen with a bunch of other stuff spinning off of MK Ultra, kind of hard to ignore that when we know those
Yeah, I
pieces
mean-
are quite viable and discussed in congressional hearings. But
Especially the hearing that it was discussed in was the Church Commission, and that Church Commission was
Yeah.
actually Frank Church. Frank Church was a senator from Idaho. He was actually a Democrat senator from Idaho who actually was the chair of that commission. And so it was actually the Church Committee, the Church Commission that actually brought forth Project Mockingbird with the media, MK Ultra, all of these things, and got the CIA and got the U.S. military to admit that they were not only involved in all this, but they were actively doing it with human participants. And
yeah,
so if you want to look more into it, we can look into the Church Committee, but that is where all that came out. So it's not conspiracy that those things were going on. They
Right.
obviously were, and admittedly,
the degree to
it's-
which people
did
took
that.
those, yeah,
And that facility specifically,
Right.
that seems to have a big kind of cloud of mystery around it, and only fed by creatures showing up on a beach in a TV show that kind of implemented or implicated that it was the source of all of that, the source of all of that mystery. So yeah,
Huh.
But
I learn a little
Yeah,
something about
so-
these conspiracies every week we do this.
good. So, all right. Well, that does the
Knockout
conspiracy
Conspiracy
corner.
Corner, brought to you by
Yeah.
You Could Be a Sponsor Here. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Anybody want to sponsor the show? Let us know.
Bring it on.
I got a couple of movie reviews.
Let's do it.
Well, one show review and one movie review.
Got
And
it.
the show review, I'm not going to give too much because it is something that you enjoy
Yeah.
thoroughly. In fact, you turned me on to, and we watched it together. And I have had a chance to keep up with it. It's not quite over for season 2 yet,
Mhm.
and that is Landman,
Yeah.
which is the Sheridan Taylor Sheridan created show about Texas and the oil families and the oil industry of Texas. And it stars Billy Bob Thornton as the landman, the guy who basically runs all of the groundwork facilities for the oil tycoons. And one in particular that is his boss for a major oil company.
It stars
And in the
Ollie
first-
Larder, and Billy Bob Thornton's all right.
Yeah, he's in it. But yeah, it's got a great cast. Demi Moore, Ali Larder. Ali Larder plays his estranged wife, divorced, but she comes back in, leaves her other husband, and comes back to him.
Mhm.
And she is insane,
Yeah.
but in the best way, in the hottest way. So
she's the best chaos piece in that show, and she, as an
Yeah,
actress, is killing the role. Like killing
Yes.
it. Yeah.
absolutely destroying the role. And there's some supporting characters. Demi Moore plays the wife of the billionaire oil magnate, who is played by John Hamm,
Mhm.
Monty Miller. And Demi Moore plays his wife. Well, in season 1, as we know, John Hamm's character passes away.
Yeah.
And so Demi Moore takes on a much bigger role in season 2. It follows his son and what his
Mhm.
situation is with the locals and trying to escape from his father's shadow, who's the big man in the area, being Billy Bob Thornton. A couple of funny coworkers and a couple of funny lawyers. Andy Garcia jumps in on this season as a big role.
Yeah, because he
And-
appears as a pretty central plot figure right at the end of the first season.
Right.
Yeah.
And so his character actually takes a much bigger role in season 2. But the biggest kick for season 2 has been the introduction of none other than legendary Sam Elliott.
Nice.
And he's worked with Taylor Sheridan before in one of his other projects, the Yellowstone projects. But he comes in and plays Billy Bob Thornton's father, and they do not have a good relationship. But circumstances pull them together and make them have to not only cohabitate but really engage each other on a really
I love how they
hilarious level.
They found a way to make it like the Real World House, that old MTV show where all the central characters are like living under the same roof. Like I love how they did that, because it's you get like those sitcom single frame shots of funny shit going on that are just like extra spice across the top of, you know, the ongoing plot narrative. It's great. Yeah.
And so this season more focuses on, so far, Demi Moore's character Cammy having to fill the shoes of her husband who passed away and what to do with the business. And because it turns out it may be in dire straits, and they have options that are coming from many different angles, and some of them are very dangerous options, some of them are very safe options, and some of them are very risky options. And it's basically Billy Bob Thornton's character Tommy trying to navigate all of those options, and him coming into conflict with the fact that Cammy, Demi Moore's character, doesn't want to seem weak and wants to take control of her own company now.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of conflict there, but man, the writing's great. The side stories are great, even if some people are complaining about like the side story of the son. I actually really enjoy that part. It is a reprieve from the high tension that that Billy Bob Thornton's whole character brings, because the man's putting out 15 fires a day in his truck, driving around, going to this place and going to that place, whether it be injuries or gas leaks or you know, or death, you know, like, and so, and then the son is navigating young man's life in a really awkward but tender situation. And so I really have enjoyed watching that. And all of the other side characters, like you've got Ali Larter, who is like with her daughter, who is played by Michelle Randolph, and her daughter and the mom are like, you know, the daughter's a ditzy blonde bombshell who is a cheerleader and has getting into
kind
college.
Of funny because like she's playing a high school aged character, and I think
18,
she's like
19,
in her mid 20s, isn't she? The actress playing her, like late 20s, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but they play a perfect duo where they give Billy Bob Thornton so much grief in one way or another, whether it be him just going, I don't want to hear this, I don't want to see this, you guys need to chill out constantly. And Ali Larter is like, I saw an interview where he was explaining his real life relationship with Ali Larter on the set, and he goes, it's pretty much the same. And he laughed. He goes, I love her for it, and we're really close and we're really good friends, but our relationship is almost exactly the same as it is on the show.
That's funny.
So, yeah. But their side story is that they found this old folks home that they decided to volunteer at so they make themselves feel better, but they love all these old people and they make them drink and party and play cards and take them to strip clubs and all this stuff and the casinos and everything. And
so that lives on in season 2, that whole.
It does, but now things are starting to get dicey because authorities for that home, the old folks' home, are going, who are these people? They can't do this. And they're like, stop us. You can't stop us. And so I have a feeling that's gonna come to a head in the next episode or two.
That's fun.
But it is a fun show.
Candy striping in all the wrong ways.
Right, exactly. But the show is some of the best dialogue writing, and it's earthy and it's relatable, and I very much enjoyed. It's a little less like this season, unless it picks up in the last 2 episodes, is a little less kind of punchy than
high tension.
the last season.
Yeah,
high tension, punchy, but it's still really enjoyable. So I would give this Landman as a whole thus far 8.5 toothy side megs.
nice. That's great.
I very much enjoy this show.
Do we get another appearance by Jerry Jones with a lengthy monologue about what to do with your life and the value of your family and kids?
Not yet,
He
no.
had to be over the moon on that one. Just like, God, get out of here, Jerry. Oh, that's great. No, it's on the docket. I got to catch up to it. I can still access all my Paramount programming on Prime, so I just haven't come up for air long enough to catch up with season 2. But they're probably got to be like 5-6 episodes in by now, I'd imagine.
There's seven or 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yep.
Nice.
So,
that's good to hear.
The movie I watched last night, and it was something that I was mildly interested in, but my daughter and her boyfriend went to go see it in the theater. My daughter's boyfriend came back disturbed and unsure of how he felt about it, but being coaxed by my daughter going, no, what you saw was actually a good movie. And because my daughter has very similar taste as I do, where we do have an affinity for a weird movie, like a creepy kind of weird movie that is not just like a slasher or, your kind of run-of-the-mill, just kind of gore fest or whatever. Something that makes you feel uncomfortable. And we have like an affinity for that. And it has its limits. Like, we don't want to go past a certain comfort zone, but if you can get us right close to like, we definitely have an affinity for that. So there's a movie by first-time director and writer Michael Shanks. And Michael Shanks put together a film with real-life couple, Dave Franco and Allison Brie. And they play a couple who are moving. The movie is called Together. And they're a couple who move from their city life because she got a job out in the country, nondescript. But they moved from like New York, where he's kind of a struggling musician. Like, he does some type of recording work, but also is a tour band guitar player. And but he's waffling about their relationship. He's struggling with depression. He's struggling with commitment and all sorts of stuff. So, but they've been living together for years, and she talks him into moving to the country for a teaching job that she got out there. They got this big house out there, so they decide to move out there and kind of start fresh. Well, they get told that they need to go on a hike by one of the people that she works with at the school. Oh, there's great hiking areas. You should try the trails that are in that neck of the woods that you moved to. And so they decided to go on a hike, and the movie had opened up with a search team looking for a couple, and these 2 dogs falling or going into this cavernous hole where there's this weird pit with like weird fleshy stuff going into the pit and then in the water, and they drink out of the water, and they start behaving really weird once they come out of that pit, and the dogs won't stop staring at each other and getting closer. And then the owner goes out when he hears weird noises, and the dogs have merged fleshes and are now one homunculus weird creature. And so when they go on a hike, they fall into the very same pit, and there's like bells, and you find out there's like in the pit there's pews like that are kind of in the structure of the cavern that are like kind of melded in, and it's really eerie and creepy. And they get stuck down there for the night, and they end up having to drink some of the water, and so you can imagine what then they start struggling through. Now the whole story is based around the premise of codependency, and different.
And they took that to a human centipede literal level, from metaphor to
pretty
literal.
much.
That's great.
Yes, but on top of it, there's some really good dark humor between the two, and the chemistry between them, because the couple's married in real life, and so they are perfect together. And man, some of the body horror, the like merging and crunching of things, and them trying to stay away from each other and pulling apart, and there's some really weird scenes, and as you can imagine, but he's being afflicted by it more than she is. And then you come to find out that there's a whole kind of gambit behind this, and it is very tonally creepy. They did a really good job of lighting, of making it very eerie in pace and in timing, and I really enjoyed it in much the way that I enjoyed a movie called Splice from about 10 years ago. That was also very similar in that, like, bringing you right to the point of like being uncomfortable in a sci-fi kind of way.
I'm beyond uncomfortable at the description, so I'll probably pass on this one.
Yeah, you're gonna want to pass on this one.
Yeah.
There involves a miter saw to try to separate themselves. There is a scene of a tryst in a bathroom stall that they can't separate from. And so there's a lot. It's very, very weird because there's a lot of contortions that happen, but the actors actually learned the contortions so that they could do them themselves and not get stunt doubles, which was really cool. But yeah, it is.
There's a time and place for method acting, friends. That might not be it. I don't know.
It is a psychological horror, supernatural horror, monster horror, romantic horror, folk horror, body horror, all wrapped up in a like dark comedy. And it was a lot of fun. Is it everyone's cup of tea? Absolutely not. I would not put this film on people who, like, I wouldn't try to shock people with this one.
Yeah.
You know, go, here, watch this, and then have them go, whoa, why'd you make me watch that? You know, so I would give it probably 7 megs with a caveat of only watch this if you're into, you know, this kind of uncomfortable type of movie. But it was really well shot, really well acted, beautifully done. They definitely philosophically got through what they were trying to get through. And I think that there was a lot of really good special effects. I think it was a triumph of a first directorial film for this director. So, but yeah, I would say 7 megs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not into it.
Yeah.
You
would have if you watch the trailer, you'll realize that you're not into it.
Yeah.
But at least you'll get a gist of, because you could feel it on. They did a really good job with the makeup, where they just look almost like worn down and greasy and tired, and they did a really good job of making them look emotionally and mentally tapped before anything even starts happening. But as it goes on, they progress and just feeling like, and the point of it is like what happens is if they are too far away from each other, they get ill and sick, and they're forced back to each other, and they're literally drawn back to each other, and they can't help it, and they have to try to stay away from each other, because the minute their flesh touches, they start to merge. And so it is a very interesting concept. It was very fun to watch, but it is definitely not everyone's cup of tea. So
fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but now that I've creeped you out,
Yeah.
and we're done talking about the horrors of Montauk and Venezuela and Somalia or Minnesota, we should probably do some uplifting content.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we've got this episode of the dope.
Mhm.
My wholesome what is it called? The kind of
It's like
content.
yeah. It's wholesome shit
The
posting,
wholesome
really.
yeah, really it is.
Yeah.
And just to kind of take us away from all of the negativity of the world, this is something that you can grab onto and actually enjoy a couple moments a day
Yeah. Burn 5
pieces
minutes
of
on,
joy that I
on the
find.
dope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, on the dope. So give yourself a little good dopamine on dopey content. So this week I've picked Epic Wars.
Nice.
And Wars, WARZ.
Mhm.
They are on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. And it's a guy who is a video game programmer of some sorts. I'm not really sure what his background is, but he has taken it upon himself to create open battlefields. Giant open battlefields, whether they be hilly or desert or in the dark, or battlefields that are actually like Minas Tirith or from different movies or books, but mainly they're kind of open landscape ones. And he has gone out of his way to go, who would win in a battle?
Right.
And he spans across all of reality and non-reality to put on these battles. And I would imagine he's got some type of way to give that character, much like an RPG, hit points and toughness and all of that scales to what you would think that they would actually be. And then he pits them against each other in the thousands.
Mm-hmm.
If not hundreds of thousands, if not millions. Mm-hmm. So, but they're all really fun, interesting battles. So I always like, whenever I come across one, and I always look at my wife and I go, okay, Aaron, Saruman's 1 million year cry army against 50,000 T-Rexes. Yeah. Who would win? And so it simulates that, and he literally just lets it go, and then he'll camera spin around to watch them all go at each other, and to see who would actually win in a simulated battle between Uruk-hai.
It reminds me, the way the layouts are remind me of like a StarCraft type of game, like a top down, and then you build a bunch of hordes, and then they merge into the other hordes and they fight it out, and based on hit points and attack and defense and whatever, then one of those hordes will beat the other horde. And he keeps a tally as well, which I think is really good. So he lets these things play out. They're fantastic. I have seen this. Yes.
Yeah. So, and then, he stretches across, like, Titan's army versus the U.S. army. You're so right. Titans from like Attack on Titan, or the Battle of Helm's Deep, but Gandalf didn't show up. Stuff like that. 500,000 French medieval soldiers versus the modern U.S. Army.
Right.
He'll do historical ones, but then he'll also do all Dwayne the Rock Johnson versus, the Army, or
like one Chuck Norris versus Godzilla. A million. I don't remember what.
Right.
Stuff like that. Yeah. They're great.
Yeah, 1 million Barack Obamas versus 1 million ostriches.
Ostriches, nice. Yeah.
So anything and everything, man. Like, the Avengers versus the U.S. Army, Predators versus 1 million Spartan soldiers. 1,000 Predators versus 1 million Spartan soldiers. Aliens versus Predators. He mixes in every genre. oftentimes it's, modern day boxers or UFC fighters. You get 100,000 of them against, a bunch of fictitious characters to see who wins. And it is just fascinating to watch. He'll spin the camera around so you see different parts of the battle, and then he'll speed it up so you can see like whoever's kind of dominating will then like kind of cripple or surround the group and see who will win. John Wick, all sorts, and he's got hundreds of these.
Yeah,
so you can just go in.
They're pretty good.
And watch. Yeah, and there's so much fun just to kind of sit back and just go, who would win? Who would win in those battles? And so you can find him on YouTube at Epic Wars, and also on Facebook, and you get fed a couple every day.
Yeah.
And they're about 5 minutes long or so, and they're fantastic. Just kind of breakaway. Like Erin always makes a bet. She goes, that seems like this one would win. And I'm like, all right, I'll let you know. And then I'll watch it, and then I'll go, no, the T-Rex is one, or whatever. But yeah, they're just a lot of fun to just sit there and let your mind, turn your brain off, and be able to just kind of watch a little bit of wholesome entertainment. And this guy spends a lot of time doing this, and he does a really good job. And I really just kind of respect the time that he's put into these things, and can answer questions that guys typically ask each other. Right. Who would win in a fight? Who would win this? These are Denny's conversations at 1 a.m.
I was just going to say. So these are what tactic prevails in a zombie apocalypse, right? But this is like a digitized version of kind of playing that out to fruition, which is fun.
Yeah, for sure. So, but that's my dope of the week.
I'm here for it. Epic Wars with a Z. Epic Wars.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but that one is for. I think I'm going to go with a cooking one next week because I got a really good cooking one. So, but I thought I'd get Epic Wars out of the way. And so that pretty much just leads us to the last bit of the night, unless you got anything else you kind of want to go over.
That's it. No, we're 2.5 hours. I'm ready to send us home with an Overlord tip. And this is what happens when we take too much time off, you guys.
Yeah. Well, this is a really good one, this Overlord tip.
I love it. Let's go.
So, oftentimes when you're making plans, you really don't. You need other eyes to look at it, and you need to be efficient with it, with putting other eyes on it, because sometimes there are things that you're going to miss.
It works.
Peer review, right?
Sometimes.
So, but in this particular case, because it just seems that this should be across the board, everybody should implement this, is that one of my advisors will be an average, not a genius, not, just an average 5-year-old child.
A 5-year-old child?
That is correct.
Okay, sure.
Any flaws in my plan that he is able to spot
yes.
will be corrected before implementation.
That's great. That's great news. Yeah.
If a 5-year-old can point and go, well, why don't I just crawl through that? Or why don't I just climb that right over there?
Right.
Or why don't,
This is brilliant. And I think modern corporate businesses could use an advisor like this, where you're like, hey, I'm going to run something by you, and I'll give you a lollipop or something. Help me out here. Do you see any holes in this plan? Yeah.
Hollywood's proven that. Isn't that the plot of the movie Big?
Good.
Basically, the kid.
Yeah, I think so, more or less. Yeah.
They're like, everything he says is brilliant because he was thinking like the mind of a child, right? And very similar. Like, if you're thinking of something to get, like, if something can get destroyed or unraveled or just picked apart in the most simplistic way because you've overthought it, then all you got to do is bring in that 5-year-old and go, hey, how would you tackle this? And then if they go, oh, well, I just do this, this, and this, and you're like, I didn't see that. Let me plug those holes.
Head back into the think tank. That's a great call. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
this is awesome. This is
Yeah.
quality.
So,
Wow.
so that
Okay,
is
so
the Overlord tip number 12.
one of the advisors shall be a 5-year-old child, and any plot holes he finds, basically, we just scrap the plan.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
absolutely. Yeah. So,
Oh, that's
But,
awesome.
yeah.
I love it.
And that
Thank you,
does it.
man.
yeah, no problem. I think that if everyone just implemented a couple of these to their daily lives, I mean, you may not be an overlord, but you'll probably rule the day. So
That'd be a tough
but if you implement
citation.
all of these,
Random 5-year-old child cited in the master plan, but hey, good advice.
yeah.
Good advice.
But I mean, if you're an overlord and you pretty much get what you want anyway, so like kill the parents, grab the 5-year-old. He has now put a cloak on him. Now he's an advisor.
I love it.
Feed him graham crackers and mac and cheese. Keep him happy so he likes you, and then just have him pick apart all your plans, and
And
then
that's
kill the guy who came up with that plan.
that's
Stuff like that.
I don't know about the killing the guy that came up with it and all saying publicly on a podcast in this reference, but maybe that's why Obamacare didn't work. They didn't run it by a 5-year-old child.
So,
Oh boy.
but
Well,
that's
friends,
it for me.
thanks. That's it for me too. Feel free to reach out. We're on social media. We've got emails.
We are.
We're modernrelicspodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up. Let us know how you're doing. Happy New Year. I hope everyone's New Year's off
Happy
to a
New
great
Year to
start.
all of you.
And yeah, we will see y'all next week. Same time, same place.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.